Start. Okay. Right. Mak, I am so excited to have someone who kind of knows a little bit about podcasting. And to be completely honest, I was definitely fangirling before this episode started. So I am very excited for you to be here and to just get some of your insight and share some of your experiences with us and the listeners.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be here and I'm happy that we were able to make it work.
Yeah, so you do just about everything from like hybrid athletics and like OCR racing to being a 4.0 chemical engineer student, like, and then a TikTok star, and just like you literally do it all.
Oh, well, thank you. I like to say, jack of all trades, master of none. That's a great
Oh.
description.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So I was listening to your podcast a little while ago about how you were in Europe and then and then Hawaii. And then like I just like I was listening to it on my long run and I was just like I'm winded just listening to all of this. Oh.
I've definitely had the craziest last 4 months. Like it's been nonstop, go, 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 like Hawaii to Los Angeles to Europe. And then it's nice to be back in the States though. I definitely
Yeah, for
appreciate it.
sure. And you're in Arizona right now.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Phoenix. The last 2 years I spent working in Malibu, but then I quit my job or I went on leave for 3 months and then formally quit about a month ago. And I came home from Europe and I'm actually running a 100-mile race at the end of the month in Phoenix. So it just kind of worked out for me to be here for a
Mhm.
couple weeks, but I'm losing my mind.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
no, for sure. Wow. So your background is in chemical engineering. So what made you kind of like want to go into that and kind of like tell us about your experience in college?
Yeah, so going into school, I knew I wanted to be an engineer. So my dad was an engineer, he's a civil engineer. And I went on an official visit to Colorado School of Mines because I played volleyball in high school and they were
Mhm.
recruiting me. I went there and that's a very engineering dominant school, like one of the best schools you can go to for engineering. But I went and I was like, I just don't love this environment or this atmosphere. I'm going to go to University of Arizona, which is in Tucson, started in general engineering and then picked biomedical, decided I didn't love biomedical and then settled into chemical. Loved chemical. I love science so much. I just got a call yesterday from a recruiter for a engineering job in California and I'm like, well, maybe I'll go back to like a 9 to 5 and like work in
Mhm.
STEM again. But
Right.
I loved chemical engineering. I loved my upper division courses. There were definitely some challenges, especially being a woman in STEM. Definitely experienced like quite a bit of sexism from more of my classmates. My professors, not as much, but definitely classmates would always look down on me. And then I actually did get sexually harassed in the workplace. Not once, not twice, but 3 times.
Oh my goodness. How do you handle those
Yeah.
kind of situations?
Yeah. So the most major incident was my mentor at my second internship in college was like sexually harassing me. And it took a year for me to finally bring it up to management. I let it slide for a while because I had to get a job, right? Like this was the
Mhm.
person in
Yeah.
charge of me getting a job. His input meant everything. And I got a different job at a different company, so I didn't need that, like, I didn't need his approval anymore, and I went to management and I said, "This is so inappropriate. Here's, 8 or 9 months worth of text messages of, like, the things he would say to me," and it wasn't ideal, I would
Hmm.
say.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm
And
not, like, alone in this experience, like, so many people have,
oh my goodness.
tales from
Wow.
STEM world. Yeah,
Wow,
it's
and that takes a lot of courage to like stand up for yourself and especially in like your workplace setting. So
yeah.
that's something.
I
Wow.
definitely I don't give myself well, there was another guy who asked me, I told HR about it and HR did nothing. So then it was like, what's the point of
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
reporting my mentor? They
Yeah.
literally like laughed at me when I told them. So I've been really hard on myself about it, but now that I'm a little bit older and can look back on it, I'm happy that I was an advocate for myself and
Hmm.
for other female engineers. So
Wow,
yeah, I'm
that
proud of
is
that
really
time now.
important. Yeah, that is
Yeah.
something to be proud of for sure. Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh my goodness. So, I guess kind of like outside of the workplace atmosphere, what do you like to do for fun?
Okay, the great question. What don't I like to do for fun?
Uh,
I obviously I mean work now looks a little different for
mhm.
me now that I've
Yeah.
quit my job. I'm a full-time content creator now, full-time content creator. I'm doing life coaching as well, so I'm running a it feels full-time energetically
Mhm.
life coaching business.
Yeah.
And then yeah, athleting full time. So, the things that I like to do for fun are the things that are now my work, which
Right.
is
That's so
kind of
cool. Yeah.
right. I'm like, I
Yeah.
like making little TikToks and I like, going to the gym and I love going for my runs and, video editing is something that's like turned into a creative outlet for me. So yeah, like snowboarding, surfing, being outside. I kind of do like a little bit of everything.
Mhm.
So
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, I kind of found your content because, I know that you competed in CrossFit and you are in obstacle course racing, and that's
Yeah.
something that I've always kind of been drawn to, and then I saw like, wow, like she's really killing it out here, and it really like inspired me to kind of like pursue it a little more.
Oh, no yeah,
Yeah.
I came into the sport it was about a year ago that I won Spartan North American Championships for the 18 to 24 age group. So that was kind of like my first big race, and then I started racing elite after that, and I love the sport. I got a little burned out on competing in the last 8, 9 months or so, like, I took quite a step back from competition. I was competing every single weekend, traveling every weekend, and then when I took leave of absence, moved into my car, I thru hiked the Colorado Trail, like, I've just taken quite a step back from
Mhm.
competition,
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
debating there's a race in the middle of November, I'm like, "Should I race?" I can't
Mhm.
tell if
Right.
it's, like, what I'm ready for, and a
Right.
lot of us are feeling burned out right now with
Mhm.
competition, so it's definitely been a common
Mhm.
feeling.
For sure. Yeah, when you were hiking the Colorado through trail, me and my friends were in Colorado at the time, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, what if we run into her?"
Oh my god,
Like
no wait, that's
yeah,
hilarious.
yeah.
Someone sent me, like, a follower sent me a DM, and it was a screenshot of her text messages with a friend, and the friend had texted her, "You will never believe who I just saw on Monarch Pass," like, the woman herself, Mak Smith.
Oh my goodness. That
I
is
was
so
losing my
cool.
mind, it was hilarious. I was like, "This is the funniest
Uh,
interaction," like, for her to send me a screenshot, it was so cute.
that is really
Those
cute.
were dark days on the
Oh my
CT.
gosh. So I know you kind of got back from the Colorado Trail a little while ago, but how are you
Yeah.
feeling? Like, that is a long hike.
Yeah, so it was quite a process to recover from that. So for anybody who's listening who doesn't know what the CT is, this is a trail that runs from Denver to Durango. It has 90,000 to 100,000 feet of elevation gain, and a lot of people backpack it. So I decided to through hike the Colorado Trail starting, I believe it was middle of July. My dates are all crazy now. I think I got off at middle of August. Yeah. So I was on the trail for 28 days, which meant we were averaging about 20 miles a day. And I got very sick about 10 days out from the finish. I lost like a ton of weight because I couldn't eat. I couldn't recover from being
Mhm.
sick because I was walking 20 miles a day. We were like battling the elements, like there were thunderstorms every day. It was just the craziest experience, like no regrets. I'm kind of thinking about doing the PCT now. But I when I came back from the CT, my body was trashed. Like I started running, I think maybe 5 to 6 days after I got off trail and nothing felt right. My feet were so achy. You'll hear about like hiker hobble, and that's
Mhm.
definitely a real thing. Like people walk around like I have a video of my friend Val doing it and it's so funny. So my feet were just achy, my legs didn't feel right, and then it took about 3 to 4 weeks and it started feeling really good, like,
Mhm.
running started clicking
Yeah.
again. I've really been enjoying my running training for the last 6 weeks or so, which is good because when I
Yeah.
first started running, I was like, "Oh god, like, I have to run 100 miles in 10 weeks, I don't know how it's gonna happen," but things are
Oh,
feeling
wow.
good. We're 2 and a
Good.
half weeks out.
Good.
I feel like things
Awesome.
are clicking.
Yeah. Yeah, so do you have any big races coming up?
Yeah, so I'm actually racing this weekend, oddly enough, but I'm not
Oh,
I'm not treating it as like a competitive thing. So I have 3 weeks until my 100-mile race. So October 29th, I'm running Javelina 100 in Phoenix. So that means, this is like the third weekend out. So I'm doing this like low key race. It's kind of choose your own adventure and you compete for points and stuff. It sounds stupid, but I'm I'm like, whatever. Like, might as well do my long run in a race format for this. So yeah, pretty much the 100-miler, and then I don't have any racing plans after that. Just everything's tentative. This has been my A goal for the year.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I'm actually doing like a marathon this weekend. Do you have any tips? Like I've never run this far before and I just
Wait,
like yeah.
what marathon
Uh,
are you running?
it's local. It's called the Grand Rapids Marathon.
Oh,
So
you're in
yeah.
Michigan.
Yeah, I'm in Michigan. Yeah.
Okay. My
Yeah.
my parents went to Michigan State.
No, oh wait, I think I heard that on Emma's podcast. So
Oh,
that's so
Emma's
cool.
podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they both grew up in Michigan. Okay, first of all, congratulations. That's so
Thank
exciting.
you.
How are you
Uh,
feeling going into it?
pretty good. I've run my longest run has been 20, so I haven't done the
Okay.
full obviously the full race yet, but I've been tapering this week and it's been so hard to
Uh
like keep grounded.
Okay,
Uh,
tapering's the worst,
oh, I
right?
know. I
You
know.
you get all kinds of weird little aches and
Mhm.
pains, and
Mhm.
running feels terrible all of a sudden.
Mhm.
I'm not looking forward to my own taper.
Oh.
I haven't had a real taper in a very long time.
Oh my gosh.
I guess like the most important thing is fueling. So as long as you have
Mhm.
a fueling strategy that you know works for you, that's
Awesome.
like the most important thing.
Oh yeah.
I'm super big on intra workout fueling, like at least 100 calories an hour, if not like
Mhm.
300 plus. I have a friend who she's a pro Spartan athlete and she can do like 400 calories an hour, which
Wow.
is like
Wow.
literally unheard of. I don't know a single other person that can take in 400 calories an
That's a
hour.
lot. Yeah.
It's a lot. I
Wow.
I shoot for 250 to 300
Mhm.
in I think my long run this past weekend was 7 hours. I took in 2,000 calories. So
Wow.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
was still starving.
Oh my gosh. Do you have any like do you use like gels or goos or anything?
I mean, it varies. Lately, I've been using a lot of like real food.
Hmm.
So, I mean, it depends what you call it. I don't know if if gushers count as real
Oh
food,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
they're
Okay. Okay.
they're not gels.
Mhm.
I definitely eat like an Uncrustable in the middle of all my long runs,
I
but
love that.
gels are so great. Like when I was running the Boston Marathon this year, they had the Martin gels.
Hmm.
They're really
Okay.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're weird texture, but they went really well, went down easy. So
That's
yeah, it just
awesome.
depends what you've
Yeah.
practiced with too.
Hmm.
If
Yeah.
you haven't practiced with it in training, then it's hard to simulate that or like do that in race day. But that was a skill I had to learn. Like I've been doing this for 5 years now. So that was a skill I had to really adapt to.
Right. Yeah. And then so like covering more of like you also do like functional training, CrossFit and
Yeah.
everything. How did you kind of get into that?
Yeah, so I graduated college and decided to quit running. Like I had the wrong mindset for running. I was way more like competition results focused by the time I left school, and it left me very burned out. Like everything in my life, by the way, when I left college was a mess. Like I was moving to Boulder with the ex-boyfriend that
Mhm.
I broke up with like a month or two into it. Graduating college is a very stressful time. You're just thrown into the world. I had my job already lined up, but there was a lot of just chaos at the time. So I stopped running. I joined Boulder CrossFit, fell in love with it. Like the first time I walked in, it was just like being called home. Like functional fitness is definitely more what I'm natural at, I guess, than running, which is
Mhm.
unfair because I
Mhm.
work like 12 times as hard at running. But I just kind of started, walked into a gym one day and just absolutely loved it. And right now, I'm actually not doing any kind of functional fitness training, not since I've left Hawaii. Now I'm climbing for the month. It just sounded more
Oh, like
fun.
rock climbing?
Yeah,
Okay, that's
yeah.
cool. Yeah, that's
It's so
fun.
fun. It's
Yeah.
very applicable to
Mhm.
obstacle course racing as well.
Yeah.
So
Oh, for
I'm
sure. Yeah,
I'm enjoying it.
my friends and I went to the Red in Kentucky,
Oh,
and that's
cool.
like really big for rock climbing. And I
Yeah.
never like outdoor climb, but it's
Mhm.
really cool. It's really cool stuff.
Yeah, so it's funny. I actually have a background. I used to compete in climbing between like 4th and 6th grade, my family, we would, like, drive to competitions, like, all over, and I would literally compete in rock climbing. So,
That's so cool.
it's so fun. So I have, like, a little bit of a background in it, and it's been really nice to, get back in a gym, like, from time to
Mhm.
time, and right now I'm just thriving. I just love it so
Yeah,
much.
yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, so, kind of, like, going back to that, is there anything that, like with, like, everything that you do you have, like, a structure for, like, a work-life balance then?
Well, I've asked my content creator friends before for tips on work-life balance, and nobody knows how to create balance. Like, when your life and editing is your job, it can
Mhm,
be very difficult. Right now, so when I was working full time, I was much more, like, structured because I had to be. It was like, "Okay, I'm at CrossFit from 6 to 8, I'm at work from 8 to 6, and then I'm running 6 to 7:30." Like, I didn't really have an option for, like, work-life balance other than
mhm,
that. Now that I'm doing content full time, I try to be mindful of my energy throughout the day and just, figuring out what time of day works best for me to, like, before this, I was editing a video, and, later today, I'm probably gonna keep work I usually get, like, very enveloped in one project. I'm like, "I need to get this done in, like, 2 days." But it's kind of just, like, working with your own intuition as to how to spread your energy. It's probably
yeah,
the best
yeah,
answer.
for sure. Do you ever feel like you're overwhelmed with, the amount of, like, content, "Oh, I have to get this out," or, "I have to do this?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, especially when I was traveling, that was a big piece of why I was so burned out by the time I left Europe. I was trying to, like, run my life coaching business as well as, creating content and editing videos and the podcast. It is a lot, like, I won't say that being a content creator is harder than, like, being an engineer or, this other girl I follow on TikTok was like, "I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that being a content creator is harder than a shift at Chili's," and as somebody who has worked at Chili's, I will say Chili's is harder, but this is more of a creative task, like a creative role, so yeah, there's definitely, like, ebbs and flows with it, and I'm still pretty early into being a full-time content creator, but I'm, like, so bored right now that
Mhm.
that's probably why I'm considering this full-time job in engineering again,
Wow.
but
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like with that though, it's like a lot of people don't give it enough credit because I mean, like, yeah, like they could say, "Oh, you're just like making a video or something," but there's a lot more that goes into it.
there's a lot. I honestly didn't even realize I was always one of those people, I was like, "Oh, like, being an influencer is dumb, like, try being an engineer," and then when all my social media started, like, really taking off about it was maybe March of 2021 was when I think 2020 yeah, everything started taking off, and now that I'm, like, a year and a half into it, I'm like, "No, this is, like, a legit job." Like, you
Mhm.
have so many things you have to worry about, and then, like, dealing with brands sometimes for brand deals, like, going back and forth with them on editing, and yeah, it's a lot, but you have to do the work that you enjoy and not I'm someone who very much, like, does it all, but I'm not afraid to say no to doing something that I don't want to do. Like, for a long time, I wasn't on YouTube. Like, I only just started making YouTube videos pretty much when I was doing the Colorado Trail doing daily vlogs, and now I'm, like, finding how I enjoy it. So,
Mhm.
choosing the content that works for you, getting good at it, and then moving on to the next thing. It's, like, an important part of this.
Yeah, yeah. So when did what like inspired you to start creating the content?
Well, it's so funny. I was somebody who, like, consumed a lot of content, like, I think we all do that. When I was in college, I kind of had, like, an Instagram account just for, like, running and stuff, because I was too, like, timid to put it on my, like, main Instagram or whatever,
Mhm. Yep.
and then I got off all social media for a bit, and then basically, yeah, it was around March 2021 that I saw this TikTok, and it was like, "Oh, like, literally just start making TikToks, like, it could change your life." And so I literally, like, made my first TikTok, like, the next day, and it went, like, crazy viral, and I was like, "Oh, I guess, like, this is a thing." And so I've kind of just grown through the process of, like, learning about social media. Like, I could literally talk about, like, algorithms and social media strategies forever now, like,
Mhm.
picking up on the patterns of things and learning, and I actually encourage everybody to make content that you enjoy making. Like, a lot of people are like, "Oh, I'd love to do that, but I don't know where to start." I'm like, "Truly
Just
just
yeah.
start."
Yeah, just
Yeah,
do it.
just start. Like, my first TikTok is a mess, and my first YouTube video is ridiculous, and my first podcast, like, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like, literally just put something out
Mhm.
there and you'll grow and learn.
Exactly. Yeah, because you can always, like you can start somewhere and then make those changes. Mm,
Yeah, like
yeah.
yeah, exactly, like, adapt. Like, you should be growing. It shouldn't be a perfect product. Like, so many of us get paralyzed in that perfectionism, but yeah, you learn, you kinda grow up on the internet because of it.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, and I feel like with our generation as well, it's like we kinda grew up on the internet, and so we're all kinda
totally.
just, like, inclined to do it.
Yeah, like, I was in 7th grade, I think, when Instagram, like, came out, like and I'm, like, an older Gen Z, like, I'm 23,
Mhm.
almost 24, I'm, like, an older Gen Z, and yeah, we've grown up with our entire like, Snapchat came out in, like, 6th grade, like,
Mhm. Oh,
these are
yeah.
tools that, millennials didn't have and, like, our parents didn't have, so yeah, it's not totally related like, my parents my dad especially, like, doesn't fully understand the content creator
Mhm.
thing, but it's a job, it's an
Yeah,
actual
it
job.
is, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, kind of touching back on, like, the minimalism and, like, kind of, like, what it's taught you, how did van life teach you to appreciate minimalism and, like, just being happy with kinda, like, what you have?
Yeah, I oh my gosh, I look fondly back on the time I was living in a van, like, I kinda wish I still had it. But, I mean, I moved into my Prius for a bit. There's definitely something to be said for living with less and, really having possessions that you care about and love and use. My most prized possessions are like my backpack and my snowboard and my surfboard. Like,
Mhm.
these are all items that play into this like labor of love, like these sports I really enjoy. So I think that van life is a great way to pare down your life, but now that I'm not living in a van, I still find myself, like, yearning for more minimalism. Like, I'll go
Mhm.
through I donated, like, so many of my belongings to move into my car, like, got rid of, like, my sewing machine, my guitar, like, there were so many things I was like, "I don't need this." Like,
Right.
I live in a Prius, I don't need this, I just, like, donated it. Like,
Mhm. Oh,
I
wow.
yeah, and this is crazy, I don't have any race medals, like, I literally donated every single race medal. I donated my Spartan Delta that I think I had 3 Deltas, just, like, donated all of them. I like, even the Boston medal, someone was like, "Oh, you didn't keep the Boston Marathon medal?" And I was like, "Why would I keep it? Like, I live in a Prius."
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
I
You
kept,
don't
like,
really.
some race bibs, like, I
Mhm.
kept the Boston race bib, I maybe have a couple of those, but I just yeah, it was a thing where I don't need this item to remind me of
Mhm.
this time, so I was
Wow.
happy to let it go.
Wow. That is so I don't it's like more wow, that's just really inspiring. I don't know. It just it's almost like you're doing it for a bigger purpose than just
Like, it's
doing
not
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it sounds so cheesy, but, like, yeah, it's not about the medals, like, I'm very self-critical and very hard on myself, and it's funny, I so this past weekend, I had, like, a DIY 50K as my long run, and my parents were both like, "Oh, like, great job, that's awesome," and then in my head, I'm like, "It's just what I have to do."
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's nothing to be celebrated, it's
Mhm.
just, like, putting in the work, like, we just have to
Mhm.
do the work, you know?
Exactly. So, kind of asking for a friend, what would you just how would you suggest for people who are looking to maybe, like, one day, futuristically speaking, live in a van?
Yeah. Oh, great question. I mean, it's totally dependent on, like, your means. So, if you can, like, buy a fully built out Sprinter van for 100K, or if you wanna start really small and, like, find, like, a 2002 Dodge, like, I have friends on all ends of the spectrum. So, I think that there's a couple, like, personal factors that go into living in a van, the most important being you need to know how to be uncomfortable or at least,
Mhm.
like, be willing to be really uncomfortable. That was one of the driving factors of why I ended up moving into a van. I was, deciding I wanted to get serious about obstacle course racing and sport, and it was just a way for me to just get fully into the zone with this discomfort thing, probably too much. It was a little bit like David Goggins, like hardo stuff, but I definitely don't regret that period of my life because it made me who I am now. And yeah, just kind of having like a willingness for adventure, like independence is super
Mhm.
important. I did it alone. Like I don't have a partner that I was with. I wasn't traveling with anybody else. So yeah, like the independence piece is really important. And it's going to be scary, but you have to move through the fear. That's what a lot of people don't understand. They're like, I'm scared. Like, how can you run alone? How can you do these things alone? Like, aren't you afraid? I'm like, well, of course, there's like a little voice that's afraid always.
Mhm.
Like, that's being a human. There's always going to be a little voice back there that's a little afraid. But you have to learn how to work through that and actually discern, is this unsafe or is it just out of my comfort zone?
Mhm. I listened to your podcast earlier about how you spoke on people get this conception that like you're completely fearless and like you don't have any worries in the world.
I get this all yeah, people are like, "Oh my god, like, I don't know how you live in such chaos, like, we never know where you're going next, like, you don't have anything planned," and I'm like, "Okay, like, I think people's perception of who I am is very different than who I am
Mhm.
because like, a lot of people don't know, like, yeah, I was, like, a straight A student, like, perfect grades in my chemical engineering courses, like, had this full-time job at this, like, elite research lab, like, it's not an accident that I was very academic and structured, like, even now, I'm living in the flow of, whatever sounds cool, I'm gonna go for it, but there's still with this long-term purpose in mind, like, I always have something I'm striving for, like a person I wanna be or some kind of goal. I mean, I create a lot of goals, but
Mhm.
yeah, I there's always a purpose to the chaos. People just don't you can't discern that, I think, from, a 1-minute video or we all put on
Exactly.
a little bit of a persona online. I try to
Exactly.
be as real as possible, but I think we all do, like, just a little
Mhm.
bit. Yeah.
Mhm. For sure. Yeah. Do you have some tips that you learned in undergrad that you wish you would have known that you know now?
Wait, do you mean things I know now that I wish I had
Yeah.
known in okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, wow. So when I was in undergrad, I was definitely like a fixed mindset person. I was like, I it's honestly a miracle that I did as well as I did because I hardly studied. Like I would study the night before an exam, which gave me a lot of anxiety, as you can imagine. Like that was not a fun
Mhm.
time for me. But it was like, "Oh, I just believe I have this amount of talent and, like, I can't get better with practice," which is a mindset I've very much turned around, and I think if I were to go back to undergrad now, I would do it completely differently. I would be definitely, like, more mindful of investing, my time into studying and practicing and, homework, being more intentional with my time. Then again, when I was in undergrad, I was seriously stretched to my limit, like, I was training full time as well as being in school doing these chemical engineering courses, so I was definitely at my breaking point in school. So I kinda look at it as, like, I did the best I could. I was in
Mhm.
survival mode.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you were you able to just take like a step back and really reflect on everything you did while you were in school?
Oh, I don't know if I've like, fully I've given a lot of thought to my time in undergrad, mostly, again, like, being very hard on myself. There's a lot of things that I wish I had done differently in undergrad, but I see the value in who it's made me now. Um, I don't know. I've reflected and it's made me grateful of the person. I'm so much happier now than I was
Good.
in
That's so
undergrad.
good.
So, like, when people are like, "Oh, yeah, college is the best 4 years of my life," I'm like, that was the worst 4 years of my life, like, I don't think I would be friends with the person I am now, like, I just so less
Mhm.
secure and, yeah, just not nearly as fun to be around, I think, as I am now, like, I really like, genuinely from the bottom of my heart, I like who I am now.
Good.
I'm, like,
That's
so proud to
important.
be able to say that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, well, that's awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Do you have anything else that you wanted to add just to kind of like just anything that you could share that would benefit someone who maybe is really struggling with anxiety or worries around school or what's going to
Yeah.
happen next?
Yeah, so especially as a coach, like a life coach now, the number one thing is everyone is dealing with something, right? Like we all have our own struggles. Like even somebody, I'm so big on like don't compare your life to anyone else's because you have no idea what's going on in another person's life. And but something I always say that has settled my own anxiety is I came to the realization that no matter what decision I make, it's going to be the right one because I'm going to make it the right one. Like,
Mhm.
you cannot choose wrong if you're trusting your intuition and you know that you have the skills to work through it. Like, being flexible, being adaptable to the scenario. Like, don't fear making the wrong decision because the right one will make itself apparent and
Right.
you will make it the right decision
Yeah. Yeah,
because you
and
are.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've spoke with a lot of people who have said, "Don't worry about job jumping. It's not as big of a deal as, like, older millennials have made it
Oh,
sound."
no. No, no, absolutely no. Hell no. Yeah, go to a job, see if it's something you enjoy doing. If you hate it, leave. Leave.
Mhm,
6 months, a
mhm,
year, it doesn't matter. Like, do your time there, get enough of a feel of what the environment's like, the culture's like, and then if it's not making you happy, it's not worth sticking around to, like, do them a favor. Because everyone's always like, "Oh, like, I was like this when I was quitting
mhm.
my job." I was like, "But what are they gonna do without me?" Like,
Right.
that's exactly what they want you to think.
Yeah, yeah, like,
Like,
that's not
you're
really your
so
problem.
indispensable. It's not your
Mhm,
problem. It is
mhm,
not your problem. You're worried that they're gonna be understaffed now. Well, maybe they should have, like, taken the steps to hire somebody before when you were all already overworked. Like,
mhm.
you don't owe corporate America or the company you're working
Yeah,
for and
yeah,
your happiness, your time, your
mhm.
energy if it is not fulfilling.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. I think that that's something that's really hard because we're worried that also, I mean, yeah, like we want to kind of like do something else, but then it's like, what are we gonna do now? Sort of thing. Like, where's our next opportunity?
Yeah, I think, it's funny, I'm kind of sitting with that right now. Formally quit my job a month ago, and I was fully in this content creator, life coaching thing, and feeling like a little bored. And also, I don't have a definitive end date for when I'm leaving Arizona. So that's giving me some anxiety. I'm
Mhm.
like, I don't want to be in my hometown.
Right.
But it's like, okay, this opportunity is coming up of like moving back to California to work in engineering again. And I'm like, okay, is it looking like a good opportunity because it gives me an absolute way out and it's forcing me to have structure, or is it like something I genuinely want to do? So yeah, being willing to jump into the unknown and just when you say no to the wrong opportunities, then that opens you up to the right ones. That's
Exactly. I like that a
probably the
lot.
biggest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
deep, isn't it? That's
Mhm.
powerful.
It
I
is.
just read that in a book and I was like, oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not wasting your energy on the wrong opportunity.
Mhm, mhm. Like, I think we all have that gut feeling if something doesn't feel right, and so
Mhm.
just recognizing that and really learning how to be in tune with yourself.
Yeah, I always say like intuition is the most powerful gift that you have. Intuition will guide you to the correct answer every single time, but a lot of people aren't connected to their intuition because they haven't had to be. So it's about
Exactly.
learning to recognize what your body's telling you, and that gut feeling is always right. It's always right.
Mhm,
When has
mhm.
your gut feeling ever been wrong?
Exactly, exactly.
Truly.
Yeah,
And it's difficult because sometimes saying no to like a good opportunity, not even a great opportunity. Like it's not a bad opportunity. It's a good enough opportunity, but still having the discipline to say no to an opportunity that there's just something that isn't quite right. That's
mhm,
important. That's
mhm.
invaluable.
Yeah, yeah. Always listen to your gut and stay true to what you know and own it. Yeah,
Stay true to what you know, and there's nothing more powerful than seeing somebody living just fully in their authenticity. Like those are the people that we admire. So, like we should all
exactly.
strive to embody that. Do what's best for
Yeah.
you.
Exactly.
Oh,
Well, Mac, thank you so much for being here with us today. I was very excited to know that you were interested to be on, and I know that a lot of people will definitely be able to resonate with this as we're all struggling with something, we're all going through something. So, thank you again so much.
yeah, thanks for having me. It was so fun.